Hello and welcome to Relatively Crafty, a knitting podcast. I am your host, Christy. I come to you from the Denver area of Colorado, where I live with my husband, Ron, and our two children, Tatum, who is 13, and Delaney, who is 10, and our tuxedo kitty, Lilu. And if things look a little bit different, I am trying out a different thing this week. I normally record on my Nikon camera, which is a great camera. It's a D5200 and I like it a lot. It's a great camera, it takes great pictures, it shoots great video. The one downfall is that it does not autofocus. Like, I focus it when I start recording, and then I cannot change the focus unless I use this little extra remote control thingy. And it's not even a real remote control because it's attached to a cord, which is attached to the camera. But it's still not great. And I know that a lot of people record on their phones, and I have, I have an iPhone 8, so, I should be able to record on it and get good recordings. And maybe it will be easier. I know that I can, the light's bad, but I can, show things closer and hopefully focus them better for you guys so you can see things a little bit more close up, and that's what I'm hoping. The lighting seems weird, so I apologize for that. I'm going to try to work with that and see if I can't fix it in the future. I feel like it's weird with the lighting, but maybe it won't look that bad. And I am going to try my best to look at the camera, which is a little tiny dot on my phone, as opposed to the lens on my camera, and not at my face, which is, the lion's share of my phone. We'll see how it goes. I am drinking some coffee today because I am tired. It's one of those weeks where I just can't seem to be awake, and I wanted to share this real quick with you guys, because this is actually a coffee cup that I got from Knit Picks. I think it was like $7. It came in my last Knit Picks order and I forgot to show it to you. But it is, I think they call them stacking cups. What's it say on the bottom? I don't know. But they had the orange, which of course I had to grab because it's my favorite color. And they have a yellow one coming out, and they are supposed to stack on top of each other really well. So I'm going to order the yellow one as soon as it comes out. But yeah. Okay, so if you are looking for me, you can find me on Ravelry as Cristi-Lael and on Instagram as Cristi-Lael without the dash. We also have a Relatively Crafty Podcast group on Ravelry where we have knit-alongs and giveaways and all kinds of fun knitterly chatter. We are currently hosting a wonderful winter warm-up KAL, which will go until the end of March, until March 19th, the end of winter. And in that, you are encouraged to knit anything out of worsted weight or above, or knit a blanket, or crochet. Crochet is always included. And so the blanket can be out of any weight, and if you're not going to knit a blanket, it needs to be out of worsted weight or above. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into FOs. I have a couple of FOs to show you. First, I have a pair of socks. I love these socks so much. This colorway is just perfect. So this is Quare Fibers in the Peacock colorway, and I had this first sock done last week when I showed it to you guys. It is my stripy sock recipe. I did a Turkish toe cast on, did a afterthought heel, and then one by one ribbing with Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off. And because I wanted to save as much of this yarn as possible, and because the striping repeat is so long, I ended up using contrasting yarn for the heels, but I didn't have enough in this one color, which went perfectly for both heels. So I did the first heel in this color, and this is Ow, I Feel Good by Lolo Did It. And then I did the second heel in Troll Hair, which is also by Lolo Did It. And I know that they don't match, but I like them, so I'm not going to complain about them. I think that they look really good. And yeah, I'm really, really pleased with how they came out. This colorway is amazing. Look at, I don't know, can you see the purple? Still not going to pick up the purple. It's a little bit blown out, but colorway is just amazing. This stripe right here is just the most beautiful purple, deep, deep plum purple, and then there's a like a olivey green stripe right underneath it. And yeah, just really, really loved this colorway. I'm so glad that I finally knit it. And that is the second of my 3 oldest skeins that I wanted to knit up for this year. So I now have 2 done, and I just have 1 left. So I am well on my way to another finished square on my bingo card. Kind of a personal goal knit along that Erin at Bling Your String is hosting, and I'm really enjoying it. It's getting me through a lot of these projects that I've been putting off for a long time. My other FO, if you follow me on Instagram, you've already seen, it is Delaney's sweater. All done. So this is Arctic Coast, which is by Dansk Knit. The pattern itself is supposed to be this for the body, and then the sleeves are supposed to match. And you're supposed to be able to use scraps of DK, or, you know, do a rainbow or a fade or whatever. Not a fade, but like a gradient with these stripes. And I had what I think was probably a, oh gosh, what are they called? Like a demo set, a sampler of Knit Picks, DK, Capria DK, which is 85% merino wool and 15% cashmere. And I think I got it when they started the line. I don't know if I bought it or if I traded for it or if I earned it in commission. I don't know where it came from, but it's been in my stash for at least 3 years, and I've always wanted to make it into a sweater for Delaney. At one point, I think I only had a single skein of each color, and then I realized that that wasn't going to be enough because Delaney had grown, and so I got some more skeins in some of the colors, and was still not with any plan, just knowing that I wanted to knit it for Delaney. And I got to the point with this year that I knew that if I didn't knit this up, I was going to have to buy more yarn again, and I didn't want to do that. So Arctic Coast was a perfect pattern for this. But if you recall from last week, where I was like right here, I said that I didn't think I was going to have enough in this color, this Harbor color, to finish the sleeves, and I didn't. So I talked to Delaney after I'd finished the body, did all the button bands, and the colors are Hunter for this deep green, and then Cream, Sea Spray is this light blue, Harbor is this kind of medium greeny blue, and then this navy is Admiral. So I finished the body and the button bands, so I knew exactly what I was going to have left for the sleeves. And I talked to Delaney, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to have enough to do the sleeves, to make the sleeves match. Is that okay with you? And she just made my heart sing, because she goes, Mom, it's okay, as long as it's comfy and it doesn't have any pink. I'm happy. That's a child after my own heart right there. So what I ended up doing, I talked with Erin about it, and I was like, what should I do? And she kind of suggested that I do like a layered effect. And so that's what I did. So I did the navy, or the Admiral, and then did ribbing. So did ribbing on the green, but I made sure to keep those stitches right where I started the ribbing live, so that after I finished the ribbing and bound that off like it was a cuff, I just went back and had those stitches still live to go ahead and do the rest of the sleeve in the cream, which I had plenty of. And then I made an extra long ribbed cuff to be able to let Delaney roll it up should she so desire. And you may notice that this sweater does not look brand spanking new. And that is because Delaney was so excited to wear it that I let her wear it to school on Monday. I finished it on Saturday and blocked it, and Sunday we took a photo, and she wanted to wear it to school on Monday, and I thought, what could it hurt? Well, apparently more than I had been prepared for. She wore it to school on Monday and took it off in the evening. So not like a lot of hardware. She didn't go outside and play in it. She just, well, I mean, she may have at school, but not like, hours and hours outside. And she didn't roughhouse in it. And except for lunch at school, she didn't eat in it. But it looks a lot worse for wear. A lot more worse for wear than I expected. And that kind of tells you about the quality of this yarn. And when I was knitting it, I kind of got I could tell that it was not going to be very sturdy. It's just not strong yarn. And here is the result of wearing it one day at school. Look at all of those pills. That's the underside of the arm. There's a little bit of pilling, just the tiniest bit, on the body itself, on the underside of the arm. But yeah, this just breaks my heart. And it's the same on the other sleeve. It's just really bad. Look at that. That is just awful. So I have a gleaner, and I can glean it, and I will. But I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it, because the fact of the matter is that it's a sweater that my kid's going to keep wearing. She really likes it. She likes the way it feels. She says it's soft and comfy, and it makes her happy, and that's really all that matters. As I had mentioned before, my child is still growing, so this was not meant to be something that she would wear for the rest of her life. This is not an heirloom sweater. This is a, wear for, the winter of your 10th and 11th year, and then, we'll get rid of it. And so that's what I'm going to do. Ron had suggested the possibility of ripping the sleeves back to here and re-knitting them in a different, more sturdy yarn, and that is also a possibility. If she decides that she really, really likes it, and wants to continue wearing it, I can always get, another color to do these sleeves in. But again, I'm not going to do that anytime soon. And there is also the option of just taking the sleeves out and making it a short sleeve layering item, where she wears it over a long sleeve shirt. That's also a possibility. I could easily just rip out the white part, and yeah, and that was it. I wouldn't have to bind off anything or anything. I'd just rip out the white part until it was gone. So, but anyway, I like it. It was fun to knit. It knit fast. It was enjoyable, and yeah, it was great. And I love the buttons. I got these years ago, and I was going to use them. I don't know, I did use them for a sweater that I made for myself, but I ended up getting rid of the sweater, and but I wanted to keep the buttons because I paid, the quality price for quality buttons on Etsy. And so it was nice to have another use for them, so they will probably stay on this sweater until Delaney outgrows it or it dies, and then I will take them off and use them for another sweater at another date. They're just really pretty buttons. You might notice that I am one button short. I have an extra buttonhole here at the top, but I only had 11, and I needed 12. But she wasn't ever going to have this top button buttoned anyway, so I'm not going to worry about it. So that is Arctic Coast, and it was really fun knit. I highly recommend it for kids knit. It was fun, a great way to use up scraps. I know that Erin at Bling Your String is also knitting this, and she is, for her daughter, who is like 5, maybe 6, and she is using scraps from other sweaters that she has knit for her daughter. So I love that idea. That's something that I might think about again. I definitely know that I won't be purchasing this yarn again. Knit Picks yarn is great for people on a budget, or for new knitters who don't want to really invest too much until they know for sure they want to be a knitter with a capital K. But you do kind of get what you pay for. So it is kind of a bummer to see that yarn kind of die so quickly. And I will say that not all Knit Picks yarn does that. There are some yarns that last longer. This one, just with the cashmere, it just wasn't strong enough. So I don't want to like turn anybody off from Knit Picks. I still on occasion buy Knit Picks yarn. In fact, I have Knit Picks yarn to haul today. So yeah, but just be prepared for pilling and whatnot. You might, if you're going to use Capria, which is very soft and pleasant to knit with, but you might want to use it for something that isn't going to be rubbed against anything else. Maybe a hat would be good. Yeah, just something that isn't going to get a lot of friction. Okay, that is all of the FOs that I have. So let's go ahead and get into whips. Since I have finished all the socks that I showed you last week, I have 2 new sock whips to show you. The first one is a sock that I am knitting for my aunt. She, I think I mentioned earlier this year that when she was here at Christmas, she took some of the bags that I really like home with her in order to kind of build a pattern, a similar pattern off of them so that she could make some for me. And in exchange for her work, I offered to knit her socks. I figure that's a really good barter. I love the barter system, honestly. So she asked for some really colorful socks. And I had this older skein. It's one of my older skeins of Knit Picks. No, I'm sorry. I've got Knit Picks on the brain. Knitterly Things Vesper sock in Rainbow Love, which is a gorgeous rainbow colorway. It's got just all the important colors, and I love that she's got this aqua for the blue. It's just such a pretty color. And so I was originally going to use this as one of my box of socks, but since she had such a love for it, and I really love the fact that she's making me all these bags, I said I was happy to kind of give it up for her. Plus, my aunt has the smallest feet in the world. She is, I don't know, 4'11" maybe, and wears a woman's size 4.5 shoe. She can get away with buying a 5, but she often buys kids' shoes. She and Delaney wear the same size shoe. And I got Delaney a couple of pairs of shoes for Christmas, like a pair of sneakers and then a pair of boots. And my Aunt Kathy tried to steal them. I'm like, you can't steal shoes from your 10-year-old great niece. That's just not right. So anyway, so she has small feet. So I think that I can easily get a pair of socks for her and a pair of socks for me out of one single skein. She does like the legs on her socks a little bit longer, but if I use contrasting yarn for the heels, toes, and cuffs, I can get at least a pair of shorties out of the skein for me. So anyway, here is the sock. I'm hoping that this recording is working out because I do like being able to show this to you guys closer. Let's hope so, huh? Is that focusing? So yeah, I've almost gone through a full color repeat. Just got to get through the green and then I will have one color repeat done. These are not going to be done anytime soon. They are just like what I work on when I'm in between sock projects. So so I expect to kind of see little bits of progress on them as the month or two goes on. The other one that I have are also Knitterly Things Vesper Sock and also rainbow gorgeousness. And I'm a little bit farther on these. This is for my box of socks. Now, if you recall, I'm doing all of my box of socks out of Knitterly Things Vesper Sock because I had like 15 skeins in my stash, 16 maybe, something like that. And one of the reasons why I have so much of this yarn in my stash is because I did her Rainbow of the Month Club last year. And so I am knitting the March Rainbow of the Month Club skein this month. And I love the fact that I'm able to knit the March Club skein in March. So the skein is Rainbows After Rain. And it is absolutely gorgeous, guys. Look at this. Is that just not beautiful? It's a little bit blown out. But you've got the gray, and then a little version of a rainbow, and then gray again. I am just so pleased with how this is working up. Super keen on it. I started on the gray on the toe. I kind of wish that I would end the heel on the gray as well, but I don't think it's going to work out because I'm almost to the point where I need the heel and I've just gone through the gray. But it would be great to have that as the heel point. But that's okay. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with the heel. I think that I will probably use a contrasting color, but I'll have to go through my stash and see what I have that will work. Absolutely loving this though. And you can see I'm almost done with the foot. I think I've got maybe an inch and a half maybe left to go. And that foot will be done. And then my last whip is, of course, my sweater. That didn't get a whole lot of work last week, but since I finished Delaney's sweater, I have been working on it a lot more. That is the Snowflake sweater by Tin Can Knits, which has a lacy, for lack of a better word, yoke, and then the rest of it is just stockinette, and I am just simply in love with this sweater. So I finished the lace a while back, and that's pretty good representation of the color. And then I'm working on the body. Let's see. I've got a decent amount. I think I've got about 6 inches from where I separated from the arms. Look at that colorway. Is that not just the most gorgeous thing you have ever seen? These are both out of Verdant Griffin Yarns, which is an indie dyer who's been dyeing for, gosh, like a decade. And this purple colorway is Dirty Deeds done with sheep, and this multicolored colorway is Madagascan Sunset Moth, and it's in her Traveler DK base. An interesting point of fact, I was watching, Craftsy had their, gosh, what's it called? Oh, the free weekend this past weekend. You could watch any of their tutorial videos for free. And so I watched one on dyeing techniques, and it was hosted by, what was her name? Erin Eyre, maybe? And she had talked about how she had 2 successful dye companies and had been dyeing for a decade and yada, yada, yada. And I started recognizing some of the colorways that she was dyeing in the tutorial, and I looked it up, and yeah. So years ago there was an indie dye company called the Sanguine Griffin, and it was 2 dyers that lived in different states, and they each had their own colorways, and they would kind of collaborate on things. They were under the same, company, but they were, it had like 2 bases basically, and that lasted for a while. And then, I don't know, 3 to 5 years ago, they decided that they needed to, amicably split. They still were great friends, and there was no hard feelings, but they just needed to have their own yarn companies. So the Sanguine Griffin became the Verdant Griffin and Cephalopod yarns. And so the Verdant Griffin is the one that I have the most of, although I have knit with the Sanguine Griffins before. In fact, I have some Bugga, which is their sport weight MCN, in my stash right now. And then Cephalopod Yarns is the lady who was doing the tutorial. So that was kind of cool to see how some of these colorways that she makes are gorgeous, and how she did it. And, you know, included in the class is the recipe for some of her company's colorways. So that's kind of cool. So I'm able to, when I learn how to dye, when I finally try it, I will be able to try to recreate some of her colorways, and they're gorgeous. So anyway, that was a long story. I am loving this sweater. It is making me happy. Every stitch is a joy to knit. I keep looking at it and just admiring how well these these are like knitting up. I mean, look at that. There is no pooling. It's perfect. I am, of course, alternating yarns because I ain't no fool. And yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. Like I said, I've got about 6 inches, maybe 5.5 inches from where I separated the sleeves, and I think I have to go to 15 inches before I start the seed stitch bottom hem, and so I've got quite a ways to go. And let's see, I only have 4 skeins of this, and I am at least halfway through the first 2 skeins, each of the first 2 skeins. So if I do not have enough, I will just make this like a 3/4 length sleeve or a shorter sleeve. I'm okay with that. Really, really enjoying the knit. It's a fun pattern, very well written. I like Tin Can Knits designs a lot. And that is all that I have on the needles. So next up is yarn haul. Oh no, wait, I wanted to show you this. This is the next sock that I'm going to knit for March. This is Lolo did it in Hippo for Mardi Gras. So I will knit that up soon. That will be what I will work on as soon as I finish one of those other socks. And that will be my 3rd Hippo for the holidays. Okay, so yes, yarn haul. So I mentioned that I bought some Knit Picks yarn, and I did, and those who pay close attention will remember that I had mentioned that I had ordered some Knit Picks yarn with which to re-knit the Boss sweater, which is a pattern by Jimenez Joseph. Excuse me. It was a lacy top that I really wanted to make, but it was designed for a merino silk blend, and I was trying to knit it out of 100% silk, and it just wasn't working out. So I ripped it out, and then ordered some Knit Picks yarn in their gloss DK, which is 70% merino, 30% silk, and it feels like it's a little bit stronger, although silk is stronger than cashmere. So but here it is. This is the colorway I got. It's Kenai. Oh, and that's a really good representation of the color. So it's just beautiful teal. And I got, what, I think 7 skeins. Yeah, 7 skeins of it. And so sometime this year I am planning on re-knitting the Boss. Or, yeah, I shouldn't say re-knitting because I only got like 5 inches up on the back panel. But I am planning on knitting the Boss out of this yarn. And because I have no self-control, I went ahead and ordered another skein of yarn from Knit Picks. And that is in their Felici worsted base, which is something I've heard about but never have had. I thought I could knit a hat for Delaney out of this, and it is in the hopscotch colorway, which is just beautiful, kind of a rainbowy type colorway. And yeah, it is 75-25 merino nylon blend. I'm thinking about knitting the kitty cat hat that Andre Sue Knits has designed. Again, not for political purposes, but just because they're stinking cute. And according to the pattern, it only takes about 75 yards, and I have 218 yards, so it is possible that I could make 2 of these. Tatum has shown a bit sadness over the fact that Delaney gets hand knits and Tatum doesn't, and I explained to her that she said that she doesn't like hand knits, so why would I knit her things if she doesn't like them? I think this might be soft enough. This is a very soft wool, so maybe. Well, I'll make one for Delaney and let Tatum try it on and see what she thinks. They've got about the same size head. And then I went and just like trolled Etsy. I don't know what was going on, but I found an Etsy shop that had a Christmas kit on a deep discount because, you know, it's March. And so I went ahead and ordered it. It came with a matching sock blank and bag. So the yarn shop is called, or the Etsy shop is called sskYarners.etsy.com. And I think that they just basically do sock blanks. That's kind of the impression that I got. And here is the sock blank that I ordered. It's a Christmas one, as I said, so it'll go great for my Christmas socks. Remember, I'm trying to knit 25 or 31 of them, so it's going to go into my Christmas box. And then it came with a project bag that matches. Look. Hold on. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So yeah, this is the project bag, and I didn't realize, but it has like a slap bracelet opening. It's got a little handle, and there's a loop in there to attach things to. It says handcrafted by Stella and FlossFinest.com. Can you guys see that? So yeah, so it kind of snaps open and then snaps closed, which is kind of cool because it stays closed. Things aren't going to fall out. But there's no zipper to catch your yarn. Plus it's fun. Is that the most annoying sound ever? Anyway, so I will be able to use this when I am knitting Christmas socks, which is perfect. You guys might recall that I ordered one of these polymer clay crochet hooks a while back from somebody to make a fingering weight crochet blanket, which is something that I'm planning on at least starting this year. But I was looking, and the granny stripe blanket, the original pattern, is written for DK weight yarn, and as I'm knitting more and more DK weight sweaters, I'm having more and more leftovers, and so I thought, well, maybe I could have like a perpetually going DK weight granny stripe crochet blanket. But I don't have another crochet hook, I just have the one for the fingering weight blanket, so I went ahead and ordered something from Happy Polymer Clay Creations. What are they called? Happy Polymer Crochet Hooks. Used to be Polymer Clay Creations, and if you watch the Yarn Hoarders podcast, Amber talks about them a lot. They're her favorite, and so I figured, well, I'll try them out. I have to say, I'm really, really impressed with their packaging and the way things were presented to me when I got my package. The crochet hook came in this little container, which He's much too big for a single crochet hook, but I can keep any of them that I purchase in here. So it's got a little loop that you take off, and it opens up, and here is the crochet hook, and it is just beautiful. I am so impressed. Now she just uses Susan Boyle, I believe. Oh, Susan Bates. I always get those mixed up. Crochet hooks. So you can kind of see it's just a crochet hook. But it's kind of sharp. It's a lot sharper than this other one. Can you see if I can do this? You see the difference? So I kind of feel like I will enjoy this one more. And so it came with the crochet hook, and I got to pick the color, of course. Not the color of the hook, but the color of this part. And then it also came with a little stitch marker, progress keeper, made out of polymer clay. And yeah, I'm just really, really impressed with it. There was also a coupon code for returning customers, and I love it. So yeah, really keen on that. I will probably order again from her if I take to crochet. The last order that I made was all Erin's fault. All your fault, Erin. I was watching her and Tiffany's most recent podcast, which is Tiffany, Breakfast at Tiffany's with Added Bling. I'll link it down below. And Erin was talking about how she had heard that Regia Perfect had put out a kids line. Yeah. That's all I needed to hear. So I went searching for it, and I found an Etsy shop in the United States that was selling them for decent prices. And of course, I had to look at the rest of her shop, and she sells all kinds of commercially dyed sock yarns for really good prices. The yarn shop is called Candra's Yarn Paradise. Right there, Candra's Yarn Paradise. And yeah, so she had full skeins of opal for $14. She had a bargain box where I got, a skein of yarn for $11. Yeah, I'll definitely be going back there. As I have mentioned before, I really want to get some more commercially dyed sock yarns in my stash for cuz. So I got this Scholler and Stahl Fortissima sock in just like, it's like fire. It's red, oranges, and yellows. Colorway 305. Beautiful. And then I got this skein of Opal Surprise in rainbow. Just rainbow. And then I got 2 of the Regia Perfect socks for kids. I got one for Delaney in blue, because that is her favorite color. And then I got one for Tatum in red, which is her favorite color. So, so yeah, they're just like, regular Regia Perfect, only it's 60 grams for kids. And they gonna look like that when they're knit. And like that. Unfortunately, because my first thought was, well, dude, I can knit a pair of socks for myself out of 60 grams. But the leg, or the foot, is not going to be long enough, because you have to start the heel at a certain spot. And, the foot won't be long enough for my feet. But I will make them for my kids. And Tatum has said that maybe I can knit her more socks, because the socks that I have made for her in the past don't make her skin itch and feel scratchy. So maybe that'll work. Okay, and that is all of the yarn content. So, I just got books left, and I've only got one book to talk about. I've been reading, but I just haven't been reading anything worth mentioning, honestly. Yeah, it's been a bunch of fluff junk. But I am going to be taking the American Literature CLEP test next, and that involves reading a lot of classic literature. And so I was looking at the reading list, and yes, I could just read the summaries and, like check out the cliff notes, but since I love to read, and a lot of these books, or several of the books on the ones that I would need to study were, on my shelf, and so I figured, well, why not try to read some of them? Not all of them, of course, but some of them. So I've gone ahead and started The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. And I realize that this is a pathetic state of affairs, but I have not ever read this book. I do have it on my shelf, and I am listening to it on audio now, so I'm remedying that issue. But yeah, for some reason I never read it. I didn't have to read it in high school, and yeah, another one that I will be reading soon is The Catcher in the Rye, which is on the shelf right over there, and that's another one that I never read in school. So I am reading The Great Gatsby. It's only, I don't know, 180 pages, and I'm like 16 pages in. It should not take very long. I just started it today, but I'm looking forward to it. And then I will watch the first movie, and then I will watch, which is Robert Redford, right? And then I will watch the second movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. And yeah. So that's it. That's all I got. All right, guys. Hopefully this has recorded properly and will be easy to transfer over to my computer and edit. Let's just cross our fingers, because I don't want to have to record this all again. And I do apologize again for the lighting. I'm going to see what I can do to rectify that. I do have a light, so I don't know why my face still seems like it's shadowed, but anyway, that's how it goes. All right, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday, and I will talk to you later. Happy knitting!